and welcome back. Yes, back to the relationship theory. Here we take thoughts and we break them down, we build them up, and we play them out. Today, well, this is going to be a repeat. Hopefully, I can get this episode through. But what I wanted to talk about was, I believe the word that would be acceptable, but I do not agree with it. This is not what this is DID, dissociative identities. I'm not going to call this a disorder. It's not a disorder. I think we understand at this point in 2021, and if we don't, you and I'm going to tell you that things are no longer disorders. They are merely things that neurotypical people do not understand, or people who are one-dimensional do not understand. People who are readily trying to claim that you're something without understanding you and just readily prescribing medication rather than just talking to you like a human being do not understand. They do not. It's very easy to slap labels on everything and anything because they went to us. You know what? I'm going to stop right there. I just want to cut straight into my topic. So I'm going to refer to it like this. When I'm talking about dissociative identities, what I'm going to exchange in place is mindset, because I did record this video already. And I was talking about how you have the conscious and the subconscious. You have an ego and an alter ego. And I was talking about how you have a mindset, and that your subconscious and your conscious together make one mindset. Because when you're responding to the world, you're looking at it from two different angles to make up one perspective, your perspective. So I was just breaking that down, talking about how you not only have an ego and an alter ego, but you have a mindset. You'll have many mindsets. And what I went on to share was that you can switch mindsets, meaning that you can, whenever you switch mindsets, just like Jay-Z Empire State of Mind, you can switch your mindset. And whenever you do, you switch the ego and the alter ego that comes along with it. I described how you have an ego. It's the one that you typically wear without thinking about it. Any day, any habitual day where you are acting instinctively and you're not thinking about what you're doing, this would be your ego. And your alter ego is everything that isn't a part of your ego. But everything that isn't a part of your typical run-of-the-mill ego is your alter ego, in that it values different things than you do. This is like if you had a best friend who was invariably opposed to nearly every single value that you've ever held in your life, and yet everything that they deem important to them, they act out with 100% impunity. Like they just believe in it in the utmost. This is what I was describing in the video I tried to record and post before, where I was saying you have those two parts in you, and those two parts make up a mindset. So what I'm describing is the fact that when you have a mindset, you have an ego and an alter ego. You believe in two things simultaneously. When you're walking around and you're living life, you do. You have favorite foods. You're not always into sweets because you're into sweets. There's another part of you that understands savory foods, and you have those too. When you integrate mindsets into your overall mindset, the one that understands that you are everything and also that you're nothing, you feel like you're a single person. And that's where most people want to be. That's where life appears it is right now. The only unfortunate part about where we are in life is that there are so many people who believe what they believe about your life without giving you the chance to express it, that it actually becomes incredibly hard, if not damn near impossible, to express those parts of yourself, to have someone accept it, to have someone validate it. And that lack of acceptance and validation, it causes a buffer inside you, kind of like a computer when it's downloading too much information, and there's a need to buffer the content that it's trying to download. It's just so much. It needs to take a break. It needs to back up. It needs to send some information to some other place, somewhere else, so that it can focus on the mission that it's trying to accomplish. This is what happens when you're talking to people and they invalidate you and they refuse to allow you to be yourself, and they slap labels and medications and prescriptions and all of these weird things onto you that have nothing to do with you. If only they'd have just listened to you. It's a really, really vicious and terrible, destructive, bloody thing that happens in the world, in society, especially in America. We have no semblance of empathy at all. And yet we consistently and constantly use these words. We're effectively draining the life out of the words like empathy and compassion, because we're using it as if it's a battle tactic, as if it's a wartime strategy, as if it's a blitzkrieg. We attack people with empathy, and we attack people with compassion, telling them that they're supposed to have compassion and telling them to have sympathy, because you're wrong if you don't have sympathy, which is suppressing your character. It's suppressing who you are. It really makes for either talented or really, really terrible actors in the acting world. It really does. And yet, actually, I'm going to leave it right there. It's just really, really ineffective. The kind of person that we were meant to be, the kind of people that we know ourselves to be, so much of it is restricted nowadays, and it's terribly destructive, for the simple fact that, like I said before, like a computer that needs to buffer, because there's too much information coming in. There's too much resistance to what one person is, to what one is. There's way too much resistance. It's far too dense, and like I described density, it's really light. It's just light, so dense and so thick, you might as well consider it negativity, and you might as well consider it a physical object. That's how intense density can get sometimes, and that's how intense negativity can get sometimes. And that's what I really mean to say. There's far too much negativity. But so you have an ego and an alter ego. You have a type of person that you lean on to do everyday tasks. And then you have the alter ego, the one that isn't saying certain things, but it's still responding to the world. And both of those egos make up a mindset. You have multiple mindsets. Everyone has the ability to become a new person. You'll gain resistance from other people about who you are, because a lot of people will think they know who you are because they've been around you. But just like as you were a child and you changed your mindset in order to experience a new world, when you grow up, when you are around different people, what you're doing is altering your circumstances to experience a new world. And what comes with a new world is a new understanding of yourself, a new understanding of your identity. I'm saying that you can change your mind at any time. You can become someone new at any point in time. You can make yourself new. You can understand who you are, completely different to who you were yesterday. You can choose a new life, and you can be consistent in that new life. Your understanding of yourself is not limited to the people around you. It's limited to your belief and your understanding of yourself, your faith in yourself, your trust in yourself. Your ability to accept and validate you is all you need to become someone new. If you want to change your name, go ahead and change your name. You're not limited to anyone else thinking that they know where you came from for your name to be the same. They don't have any control over what you're called. If you understand yourself to be someone, call yourself that. We have Facebook. We have all these brands on the internet. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, Tumblr, WordPress. We have so many applications and brands that allow us to express ourselves differently. But don't you think that because we have all of these different brands and applications allowing us to express ourselves differently, that they're also reflections of different parts of ourselves coming out? A lot of what business is really doing is offering us the space to be a different part of ourselves that we otherwise wouldn't have accepted of ourselves, if we really think about it. So likewise, if you're going to judge yourself about the apps that you use, you might want to take a second look at what you're judging, because it's merely a different angle. It's merely another mindset. It's merely another understanding of your expression. It's merely another you. Just like the book, You Are You, Life, Relationships, and how your idea of relationships affects your life. It's all you. All business and brands do is sell it back to you, effectively. And if you're not buying it, well, they're extracting the information behind you using the app to do what they do. But still, it is absolutely important that you understand that even if you don't accept yourself, you could say that companies and businesses accept you because they give you a port through which to express yourself. But more importantly, what I want to highlight is that you have all of this technology. You have so much access to things around you that are merely just another reflection, another piece, another part, another ego, another conscious and subconscious piece of who you are and how you express yourself. So take some time, and I'm going to offer a solution today. But take some time and really look at the things around you. Look at your bed. Who is in your bed? Look at the instruments. If you have any instruments at home, who plays your instruments? Look at the journals that you write. Look at the pieces of paper that you write on. Look at the phone that you type keys into. Who writes the letters? Who types the keys? Who reads the books? Which part of you is reading the book? Which part of you is putting clothes on before you walk out the door? Which part of you stands near the windowsill and looks out the window? Which part of you admires nature? Which part of you watches anime? Which part of you meditates? I offer you these questions as a solution. Take some time and think about these things. We have egos and alter egos and different mindsets, so that means there are many, many yous inside of you. Just like your friend or that stranger or that businessman or businesswoman or that colleague, we all have yous inside of us. We all have different understandings and different levels of understanding of different parts of ourselves in us. So what's yours? This is going to be this episode of The Relationship Theory. You could call this a destigmatization of this kind of conversation, but I would call this a revelation. We're going to need it. We're moving into a world where people are going to slap even more labels onto things. They're going to try. But what is more important than what people are trying to do as far as labels is that you understand that this is what's happening inside of you and outside of you. This is what's happening inside of other people too. Understand that people are just trying to figure out, understand, and express themselves the very same way that you are. And it's the patience and the desire to connect that allows you to communicate with another person, and it disperses all of the confusion. So, with that said, enjoy your day.